By age 24, I was in $250,000 of credit card debt.
250,000.
250,000, and I realized I'm like, I'm in the wrong industry.
My side hustle was I would make 50K in cars ish, and so I made the same exact amount of money. And to me, it was the same effort and process as one car. You find one good deal, you get the permits done with an architect, you hire the builder, and you sell it.
If life was a Monopoly game, that is the cheat code. I don't care what anyone says. College is very important, but there is nothing in this world like actually doing and working and putting your hands on something like a real estate development internship, like working as a project manager, managing 18 houses.
You can take a small little short plat and do so much with it, and I'm over here doing 500 lots for another company. And that's one of the moments where I realized I got to do this on my own.
Make the mistakes sooner. So
Okay.
either make the same mistakes that I made much faster and learn quicker and not be scared,
I like that.
or
I think if somebody is hungry enough, they'll do it. Like at the end of the day, that's the way it works. Go look up on the public records whose mailing address. If you're not scared, go drive or Google their number. Like whatever you have to do it, and things will start flowing.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Matchbox podcast, where we are trying to help entrepreneurs by sharing stories. So my name's David, this is Vlad, and we have Arthur and Ruben with us. So we have Arthur the developer, Ruben the builder. All right.
Welcome to the show, guys.
awesome. Thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Excited to unfold the story that's been really inspiring for me. I've known Ruben for many years. I think we went same church together when you were very little.
Long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
You were running around, and we didn't even really knew each other.
There's always that story. When you were this small,
Yeah.
you were here, you know?
Yeah, but it was the same church. And then you appeared in my life as Ruben T-shirts.
Yep.
That's how I had you saved in my phone book. So you did T-shirts, and now you're actual multifamily builder and single family homes and multifamily. And you're only 30 years old.
I'm only 30, yep.
Yeah, and you're 29, right?
Yep, just turned 29.
29, 15 months. I remember that. I'm only 15 months
apart.
young.
Irish twins is what.
Yeah. All right. So, let's just dive in. Hear your story. I have a lot of questions. I already have insights brewing in my mind that we can talk about. But could you guys share a little bit about what professionally, starting from high school, you finished high school, did you go to college, yes or no? And just share the story briefly for us to understand what you've accomplished and what took to get you there. You know, what did it take to get you where you are now?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ruben. You got an awesome story. And
I was actually going to say the same thing about yours. Arthur's story is really fascinating, but okay, I'll start with mine real fast. So, high school, I joined Running Start. So in Washington State, we have a program where
I did the same thing.
Yeah,
for
we
a
can
year.
do college. Yeah, because in high school, I'm sitting in class, I'm looking out the window. It's not interesting
It's
to
boring.
me at all.
It's
and to
boring.
me, you know, Running Start was really simply like I have a free schedule.
So shout out to Running Start for anyone that's young that wants to get in the game.
Game of business.
Don't waste junior and senior year going to high school. Do Running Start. It's absolutely worth it. You save 2 years of your life. It'll get you at least a little more educated before you get into the game.
So the best thing that any entrepreneur can do is have free time to execute on ideas instead of being tasked with to-do items in high school. So I go to Running Start. I have an absolute free schedule, and I start a T-shirt screen printing business. I wanted to be like Nike. That was my idea.
Wow.
And so I go to the store with my mom, get these little pieces of paper, print a design, cut it out, and I start ironing it onto T-shirts, bring it to school and trying to sell it so that people would wear my clothing brand. Well, I quickly realized that my friends in high school didn't have enough money to buy a new T-shirt from me every couple days. And so I realized, I was like, well, this business is not scalable because I don't have the customers for it. And then a church reached out to me. It was actually our church at that time. And they said, we need 100 t-shirts for youth camp. I'm like, this is crazy. I can barely sell 3 t-shirts and they were ordering 100 from me. So right away I got that order. I print that first order. I'm ecstatic. I'm like, this is it. This is how I'm going to become a millionaire. From a young age, I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be financially free.
Oh, what were the economics of that deal? 100 shirts?
100 shirts, I think at that time it was probably $10 a shirt.
Okay.
$1,000. The shirts cost me $1.70 at that time. Ink and everything else. I think probably all in, I was maybe $2-3.
In your garage, no overhead.
Yeah, in a garage, no overhead. So around at that time, $600 a profit and a lot of sweat labor. I mean, it's really hot in the garage. You're drying these shirts, ink and everything. Everything changed though. So I'm starting printing these shirts. The business is extremely profitable, high profit margins when I'm sweating by myself printing these shirts. But then I get my first problem. They wore the shirts at camp. They came home, put them in the wash, and all of the blue ink washed off in the wash and ruined the loads of laundries of all my customers. So I'm getting a bunch of phone calls. What kind of ink is this? My whole load of laundry is now blue. The ink washed off, and I'm freaking out. Don't know what to do. So first problem, I'm like, okay, start researching. At that time, no ChatGPT. So I'm trying to figure out, what do I do? I find a supply shop here locally, and I buy a heater, an actual t-shirt screen printing heater. Solve that problem. Fast forward, I start building this business little by little, taking on overhead employees. I lease a machine for $100,000, get a warehouse for $1,500.
$100,000?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
you have the vision of trying to be like Nike, right?
What age?
This was by now, I think I was 20. So I started at 15. So I'm just kind of fast forwarding up to age 20, building this business. And I'm like, okay, it's time to get out of the parents' garage, But what I didn't realize at that time is it was a really foolish move because I didn't understand overhead. Mm-hmm. And so I get this shop, I get this machine. I now can print 500 to 1,000 t-shirts in 1 hour.
Wow.
So with this equipment, with this setup, state of the art, like I'm ready for business. You know what I mean?
Scale.
I'm ready for scale. And, day 1 of the business, day 2, month 1, month 2, month 3, I'm printing 50 shirts a day.
Where are these orders coming from?
Church camps, businesses, people like Nestor would reach out to me and ask me for shirts for their business.
So the blue ink didn't tarnish the reputation.
No, that was just the
But
first.
imagine 50 shirts a day, 100 shirts a day. When you can do 5,000, you got the equipment to run this Nike shop, and you're doing 5% of the revenue, but 100% of the overhead. And so
the blue ink did not tarnish my reputation. All it did was, hey, what do I need to do to make this right? Do I need to refund? Do I need to do something else? So like, no, don't worry about it. It is what it is. At that time, I believe it was like oil-based ink. Короче, solved the problem, right? But future shirt orders, I had the right equipment now. I could dry it properly, solve the issue for good. I fast forward into the 5 years into the future. I have the machine, I have the equipment, but I don't have the orders.
So you were doing this for 5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, out of the garage. Yeah. So I was in high school, in college, part-time, and then running this business on the side. By age 18, I graduate with my associate's degree. I meet a girl, start dating. It's time to get married, time to run a real business, make real money, not just money out of my parents' garage. And then I get the machine, the warehouse, and everything else.
What's the overhead on that all equipment in the warehouse?
It was around, I would say, at that time, total probably $5,000. $5,000 of
Not
extra.
terrible.
Not terrible, but for me, at my level of business at that age was insane because 5,000 and then employees, overhead, shirts. I needed to pretty much bring in $20,000 to $25,000 per month.
In sales.
Just to break even.
Sales.
Just to break even, in sales.
So your margin is 20%.
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
Okay.
And I could barely get like 18 grand a month was amazing. It was good, you know.
Wow.
In the
So 18 grand was amazing, but you're still short, you know, the
Yeah.
seven G's you need to break even.
Exactly.
And were customers paying you up front, or would they only pay you upon delivery?
Both and. So early in the business, I would bankroll the entire ink, shirts, everything else, and ask for payment at the end. Sometimes customers would pay late. I quickly realized, I was like, this is not possible. Okay, so I'm gonna start taking 50% deposits up front. That helped a little, eased the pressure. But still, at the end of the month, credit cards due, bank is short. I can't pay the bills. So what happens? 0% interest credit cards, that balance stays, and that credit card debt starts to grow. By age 24, I was in $250,000 of credit card debt.
250,000.
250,000. Running this business, hoping.
How do you even afford 250,000 in credit card debt?
Well, 0% interest. The payment is only 1% of the 250. So the payment's very small. You're not paying it that much, and you're paying down the balance. And the cool thing about credit cards is you can have 0% interest, and you can constantly
How does it work? Multiple credit cards? and
multiple
just,
credit cards, yeah. Multiple credit cards.
Moving the balance from one
And you
to
can move the
another.
balance every 12 to 18 months when
Okay,
the
so
0% interest.
you already knew that scheme.
Well, I learned it through this business.
Wow.
Because in my mind, my perspective, my mindset is one day the sales will come in. One day I'll get enough reoccurring orders that the business will be built. And my sales were growing. 100,000, 200, 300, $400,000 in annual sales. And I had a lot of repeating customers. So the business was growing. I wasn't delusional. But I couldn't grow the business fast enough to keep up with paying the overhead, taking on more employees, because the more orders, the more employees, the more overhead I had to have. And so fast forward, I'm 24, I'm in $250,000 of credit card debt. I don't know what to do. I'm starting to count how many t-shirts do I need to print to get out of 250 grand of debt. I'm like, this is impossible. This is never going to happen. Like, unless I wait for a miracle amount of orders, it's not going to happen. I'm like, well, there must be other people in this industry that are making money. I started DMing people on Instagram at that time. I DM'd probably 5 different shops. One of them said yes. I said in the message, I said, can I come work for you for free for 1 week? That's what I told him. He said yes. I said, great. This is the solution.
It's a good idea.
This is how I'm going to solve all of my problems.
They weren't worried that you were going to learn their secret sauce.
4 said no. 1 said yes.
Well,
and this guy was
you
in
were
LA.
clear, right? You
I was
were
very
clear that I run a shop. I want to learn from you.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's exactly what I said. And so I took myself and my best employee at that time to LA, where this guy was, because I thought LA fashion district, this is the hub of all t-shirt printing and design. I come to his shop, I start talking to him, printing shirts with him for free for a week, learning all about his business, and I start to ask him about his numbers. His numbers weren't good either. But he had 3 machines. I had 1. He had 3. So
Wow.
he was farther ahead than I was. And
He was printing for big brands too.
he was printing for big brands, concerts, everything. And I realized, I'm like, I'm in the wrong industry. Like, more orders is
aha
not.
moment.
Yeah, more orders is not going to solve my problem. Either I have to change my business model, or I have to leave the industry.
It's just very low margin business.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Minute Press, you get a custom T-shirt, they'll make a design, they do a heat press, $30. Boom, it costs $5. You just made a massive margin. But to do scale,
Volume,
and
screen
volume,
printing,
and
events.
custom screen printing and all that,
Low margin.
definitely harder business.
He's talking business models. There's different business models
Right.
within the t-shirt industry. The one that I was in, very low margin. 20% is generous, to be honest. But I talked to him. I figured out he got me on his podcast. I should probably find it. It'd be hilarious to listen to it. Called Saving Shop. And I realized on that trip in LA, it's time to shut down the business. I'm driving home.
Wow. At
from
25 years old.
25 years old. I'm driving home. I'm like, there's no future. I have to shut this down. There's I don't know what to do next. At this time, around the same time, I was starting to figure out, okay, I got to lower my overhead. The sales are not going to come. They're not going to come. I need to figure out a different way to make profit. And what's that solution for me? I'm going to cut expenses. So I start cutting my expenses on the t-shirt business by giving up my apartment. I'm not going to live in my apartment anymore. I'm going to move in with in-laws. Okay, $2,000 less of overhead in my life. Moving with my in-laws, I'm running the t-shirt business, and at this point,
and this is, I'm sorry, this is while you're already married.
It says I'm married and I
you
already have 2 kids.
2 kids.
2 kids at this time. So I got married at around 21. This is 25 years old. So
if somebody's 25 and has no debt and no business, you're in a better place than Ruben at that time, ready to start. So
you're already ahead.
You're already ahead.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what's the best business that I can go after that has, big numbers and I can wipe my debt away in one sale? My dad always told me cars, trucking, and real estate or construction. And I didn't want to do cars. Arthur's going to tell his story. Absolute wizard, genius at car flipping. I think he got up to more than 100 cars at one point. And I didn't want to do trucking because I didn't want to lie. That's just what I heard from the industry. Too much lying, double brokerage, stacking loads, warehouses just to make deliveries. And so I decided construction. And so the way I started construction was really simple. Living with my in-laws, they have this big crawl space. And I started to, one morning I woke up depressed out of my mind. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I went and I started digging. No joke. I started digging an entrance into the crawl space so I can build a basement to build out a sauna. And
Did you ask your in-laws for permission?
No. My father-in-law was on a trucking trip, so he wasn't home. My mother-in-law, I told her, I was like, do you want a sauna? I'm going to build something, Guys, I'm a visionary, so I get slowed down with the details. The big picture, I can close my eyes, it's done. The sauna's already built, but somebody has to do it.
So you're actually digging with a shovel? With
a shovel, creating stairs into the side of the house so that I can create an entrance.
Wow.
So I start digging, realize I'm in over my head. I rent a concrete saw, I cut the foundation to open a doorway into the sauna. My father-in-law comes home and he's like, what's going on here? This is crazy. But, fast forward 6 months.
Are you still good relationship with him?
Great relationship. He's till this day, he laughs. He's like, the sauna was, in Russian, he says, stoila. It was crazy project, but it was worth it. These 6 months, I'm trying to figure out construction. I have no experience in construction, guys. I start hiring subcontractors, and me being entrepreneurial vision, business owner, I realized, man, I don't need to know how to dig or how to do a foundation or do electrical or do framing or do any of this stuff. I can hire all these people.
Yeah, but you need money.
Yeah, but the in-laws are gonna pay for it because they get the sauna.
Because I thought you're in debt.
I'm in debt. I'm not paying for this stuff. I'm just at this point I don't realize it yet, but I'm just a project manager. I'm starting to learn about construction. And so I cut this foundation, build this sauna, hire all the subcontractors. The only real job that I did was dig. That's it. Everything else I was like, I'm not gonna do electrical.
And the digging is what made you realize you should just sub it out.
Yeah,
they know how to do it much better than you can.
Exactly. So I build this first sauna. I'm like, I love construction. I don't have to do any physical labor, and I just tell people what to do. I agree on a price, negotiate with them, and the project is done. Just wait some time. That's it. Manage the schedule, get it done. Love it. So I get my second sauna project for another client because I posted on Instagram that I built this cool sauna. It's super cool. Build the second project, and at this time, I'm like, how can I do more in this space? I start applying for jobs for builders. How can I fast forward my success? I can't go to college for 4 years to learn how to be a builder. I'm just going to go work for someone. I'm going to go work for someone, learn how they do it, and then build the business at scale.
And when you were thinking, if you wanted to learn, were you trying to go like residential, commercial? Like what niche were you thinking?
Probably residential.
Into?
For me, it was residential. I knew some younger Slavic builders, and they were doing good financially. So I was like, okay, I'm going to build houses. At least I'm going to start there. So I get hired for this national builder. And I'm starting by picking up trash, walking around, picking up trash, putting it to the front of the site. That's all I was doing. But slowly but surely.
For how long?
I only worked there for not long, 9 months before I got fired. But I started picking up.
It's a good hook, right? Before I got fired.
But I was picking up trash. I started by managing just to-do lists at the end of the house, 5-10 items, clean the house, get painters in, get the drywall repaired, present the home to the final buyer, hand it off to them, little things. And then they gave me a whole 18 houses to manage all by myself. So I'm starting to manage these houses, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. Even if they're making $50,000 profit on each house, and I'm managing 18 for them, and I'm doing all 18 at the same time, I can't imagine how much money they're making. And I realized, I'm like, all right, I have to build my first house. Probably 6 months into working for this builder, I'm looking for land. Can't find it anywhere. Don't know what to look for. I'm driving with Arthur in the car. Arthur was trying to get into real estate for 4 years at this time. He gets a phone call from that same Slavic Russian builder, and he's like, hey, I have an extra lot. Are you interested in buying it from me? Arthur's at the time, he's like, I'm not ready yet. But I'm listening to his call on speaker. I'm like, Arthur, I put the phone on mute. Give me the lot. I want the lot. He's like, Ruben, what do you mean you're in debt? Where are you going to get the money? I said, Arthur, tell him yes. That give me time to find the money. You know, like I'll figure it out. Arthur takes the phone off of mute. He says, we'll take it. My brother Ruben will build it. He'll take it from you. Right away, the first thing I'm doing, I'm calling everybody I know. Family members, friends, relatives, friends of friends. I don't know. Everybody. Hey, I'm working for this national builder. I'm managing 18 houses. I know exactly how to build a house start to finish. I'm going to build it so fast.
But
all I need is the money.
Did you actually know how to do it?
Yeah. I was managing the houses for the builder.
Well, you worked for 6 months.
It's,
Half of the time you were picking up trash.
Everyone is in a different stage.
You got to understand
So
one
you're
thing.
watching everything at once. One's in excavation, one's in foundation, one's framing, one's in finishes. It's a whole 18-lot subdivision. You start to see everything, and you're like, oh, building is not that
The puzzle
difficult.
pieces click really fast because you can see every house in every stage at the same time.
Okay.
So in the morning, I'm talking to the foundation guy, scheduling him. In the afternoon, I'm scheduling the drywall guy. And at the end of the day, I'm working with the cleaners to deliver the house. So I'm seeing
you're saying in 3 months you figured out the puzzle of building a house.
at least the big picture. I still
Okay.
learned on my first
But
house.
it gave you confidence and boldness to go ahead and actually build a house in 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't worry, he
Okay.
missed a few pieces when he built his house. He'll share it, but it gave you the concept. The
That's
foundational
incredible.
piece
The
was
boldness and courage, even though you failed at your first business, but you've learned so much.
Yeah.
And that's why I encourage, go out there, fail. It's totally fine to fail.
And I think, Nestor, that's the best thing that you can ever do. Fail first and then learn from that mistake and never repeat it again. This is a simple thing. The faster you can fail and the more times you can fail, the less it's going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But if you try not to fail and make everything perfect, you're going to have this one big failure that might wipe you out.
Exactly.
But if you can fail at least on a tiny level every single day, then you'll learn much faster.
Yeah, it's better to fail when you live with your parents.
Yep.
And you don't have, a lot of debt.
I always tell young guys, the least amount of risk you have in your life is if you're living with your parents and you have nothing to lose. Because if you lost it all, you lost nothing. What did you lose? You're going to go home, you're going to have a bed, and you're going to be fed. You have nothing to lose.
You're going to wake up and you're going to be fine.
And you're going to go do it again. Somebody else that has 8 kids, they have to stomach a much bigger risk because they have a family, they have rent, mortgage, bills, everything. And so they have to stomach it. But a lot of times those people are willing to take more risk than the single guys. And I'm like, how do I get you guys into a thinking position?
Mindset.
Take that risk early on. And even if it doesn't work, when you're married and have the kids and everything else, you already know how it felt to do it. And you may actually end up doing 10 times better when you're married. But doing it, just even trying it. I remember I tried 100 different things before I figured out what works. And I think that's just the concept of life, to always have that. But taking action is better than doing nothing. Even the wrong action is better than no action. I've always been taught that. Even the wrong action. Ruben took the wrong action, $250K in debt. Sure, it was the wrong action, but it taught him everything he needs to know to get into the right industry. And I'm not saying get into $250,000 in debt. There's different ways to go about it, but I think that's such a big life lesson. And then go ahead. So you've learned the industry. You're 3 months in, 4 months in. You're like, okay, I don't want to just make money for a builder. I want to make money myself.
So to shorten the story, there's so much more to tell, so many details I'm missing, but I'm trying to make it as interesting as I can. So I build this first house. I have the investor. I split the profit with him 50-50. I posted on Instagram. My boss calls me in to the office, this national builder. He printed out my Instagram paper that I posted that I built a house, slides it across the table, and he's like, what's this? Me being a naive young young hustler maybe, I tell him everything. And he's like, well, unfortunately, this is against company policy. You're not allowed to be building houses on the side. It's a conflict of interest. We're sending you home on paid leave. Guys, at this time, my house that I finished is on the market. It's not sold yet. So I go home. I get a FedEx overnight package the next day, termination paperwork. I have a hard money loan on my house. I was thinking my salary is going to pay for the payment, just bridge long enough until I can sell it. I'm stressing out. I'm freaking out. I have a $3,000 payment on the house. I don't know what to do. I get fired.
What year is this?
I don't even remember.
So I understand the market situation. How was the
2018, 19.
Yeah, even 20. Yeah, even a little bit earlier, I think.
So market's starting to heat up.
Slow.
Starting to heat up, yeah.
Still was slow, but it was
still
not
slow.
there yet.
Finally, 30, maybe 60 days later, I'm missing so much detail. At that moment, guys, I surrendered myself to God because I was like, I don't know what to do. I go to a conference. I gave away all the money in my account. I said, God, I trust you with my finances. And I gave every last dollar in my bank account, zero. For the next 30 days after that, I was in negatives.
Did your wife approve that decision?
No, she didn't. But
Did she
after that moment, I got an offer. I sold the house and I made $53,000 of profit. At that time, for the project management salary that I was having with the builder, I was making $52,000 a year. Guys, I did this literally with like maybe a couple hours a week managing this one house because I'm managing 18. So I know how to manage the 18. One house was a walk in the park to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
But during the process,
I'll add that detail
right.
in a little bit. But I sold this house. I realized, aha moment, guys, I made an entire year's salary with maybe 10 hours of work, actual work to manage this house. The total's, 5-6 months that it took me to build. And I went all in. That's when I got more investors, more projects, and I started to syndicate, get builder fees, and start to actually build bigger houses. But to add in on what Arthur said, you said, how can you learn everything in 3 months? Well, you can't. I build my first house. I call for inspection, and the inspector comes on site, and he's like, where's your HVAC system? I said, what's HVAC? No joke. And so I had to get HVAC back out on site for framing inspection. He crawled under the house, cut big holes in the floor, installed all the piping under the house, and it was not a big problem.
it works out.
So I just want to see that in the inspector. It's like, you build a house, you don't have HVAC.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of learning lessons like that. But the house was finished. The house was sold. Till this day, I drive by the house at least once a week.
You want to make sure it's still there.
It's on the way to a parent's house, so he gets to
and
see it all the time.
So it was a great learning lesson. After that, I was just super fast forward.
So
I built one house.
regardless of that mistake, 53,000 profit
Yep.
split between you and the investor.
Yep.
So
No,
25,
so 53 to him.
53 to you.
Yep.
Wow.
And so after that moment, I built one house, a few projects in between, but I built one house, guys, and I made, I don't remember the exact number, maybe
248.
248, 253 for some reason. That number I remember, and I paid off all of my debt in one sale of one house because I got a better deal.
That's when the markets were.
I learned how to build it faster. I got better loans.
One house got you
Completely
250,000
debt-free.
profit.
Yep.
Wow.
And after that moment, I realized this is the business. Then we started building like crazy. To date, we've built around 250 houses. I don't know
Apartments, townhomes,
condos, single family homes, all using none of my own money, bringing on investors. I do all of the work. I find all the deals. I get the loan together. I do everything. All they have to do is wait. And so,
What does the investor get in return?
typically the investor, up until recent, I've been paying the investor 50% of the profit. So what that looks like, we had a project recently where the investor, why don't you tell him how much the investor made on the fourplex?
I mean, it's all deal by deal basis, but it could be 50%, could be more, could be less. It all depends. If we bring the deal, they bring the deal. If we're managing the development or the build side, but on projects in general, I mean, we like to try to double the money. So if you have 100K and the project will double the cash, if you're active. If it's passive, it's a different game. So it's usually smaller projects, right? You go and build a single house, you put 100K down, you walk away with 200, you and the investor split. So similar to his first deal, they put 115 in, walked away with 106, and they split the profit. So it just depends on where somebody's going, and then eventually people start funds, right? And in the fund, it's a whole different strategy, but you're now doing big deals, right? You're talking millions.
To keep numbers really, really simple, investor gives me 100, I will give him back in 6 months, in 9 months, however long it takes the house to sell, 150. To keep it really simple.
And that's with hard money loans, leverage, interest, all that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so we heard your story, $250,000 in debt
To building 250 houses.
to building 250 houses.
Yeah, a little bit of my
Arthur,
story.
yeah.
15 years old. My mom used to do weddings. She would rent out the dishware, silverware, all of that. And at a young age, I really wanted to get into business. My dad's in the auto industry. And so I'm like, well, if my dad's doing auto, I should do auto. Long story short, I ended up saving up by washing dishes, dropping off dishes at weddings. I saved up enough, $1,100. Bought my first car at 15 years old. It was a 2001 red Volkswagen Golf. So I don't know.
Manual?
It was, I think it was manual, yeah. It had chrome wheels, a little bit lifted. It was funny. But I give the credit to my dad. He taught me that entrepreneurial spirit where, you don't have to trade time for money. And so at 15, I was already, I'm going to do this. I know some other people doing cars. Like I want to try to flip cars. So bought that first car, had my permit. I didn't even have to fix it. It was run and drive. It was just the bumpers were scratched up off the insurance auto auction, driving it around on my permit, cleaned it up, posted it for sale, sold it for $2,000. So for me, right away, I almost doubled my money and I didn't have to work a job. I didn't have to go trade time for money. I would also go pick blueberries, and they pay you for the buckets.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first taste of entrepreneurship. And from there, I just started doing car after car after car after car. Went from that $2,000, went and bought another car, grew my money, got to a place where I was doing about 30 to 40 cars a year on my own. And I started selling cars, doing sales. So I worked for a dealership, was selling cars. At that time, that's all that I knew. My vision was I'm going to start a dealership and this is going to be what I'm going to do.
So you're perfecting your sales game?
Yep, doing sales and understanding how to move money. While I'm doing that, just like Ruben, going to high school, how are you supposed to manage high school in that? Well, I opted into Running Start. So before you flip one car, you go save up, 3-4 months later, you buy another one, you sell it. But as I'm going into junior year of high school, I opt into the Running Start program. And so I'm going to school maybe part-time because you have to take 4 classes a quarter?
At that
Something
time,
like
you can
that.
also take the classes online.
And it was online. It was essentially I was free. I was this 17-year-old kid that would go to school part-time while my other kids are in high school all day. They're not really learning too much. They're just passing time. So at that time, I start scaling, doing more. I'm flipping 2, 3, 4 cars. I'm saving up. And I can't tell you what inside me. It's probably what my dad would say is trucking, cars, or real estate. But I start to really get intrigued with real estate. I really want to get into the real estate game. And so I start watching YouTube. At that time, I didn't know Instagram barely existed. It was you post your food pictures, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching YouTube. I'm watching Grant Cardone. I'm seeing what Grant is doing. He's like doing all of these live Q&As, talking about buying 300-unit apartment complexes. I'm like, I can't buy these 300 units, but I'm studying, and I start to go to Facebook groups. And I start to join these Facebook groups and, just say, hey, I want to get into real estate. I see you're doing fix and flips. Because I'm fixing and flipping cars, I'm thinking I should fix and flip real estate. That
same
would be
game, bigger
same game,
ticket.
bigger profits. And then I start asking around the community, other people that are remodel contractors. I didn't understand the difference at that time. I was too young, but I thought if you're doing remodels, bathrooms and stuff, kitchens, then you're flipping real estate. And so I asked if I can go work for free for some of these contractors. Long story short, everybody said no. So I couldn't get, and I didn't, at that time, I couldn't go work a job. I was in high school. So you can't go work for a remodel contractor. And so I'm in these Facebook groups and I'm like, I got to get into real estate. I want to get into real estate. And I find mobile home flipping. It's a bit of a crazy story, but I meet this group that's doing mobile home flipping in Texas. And at 17 years old, I think it was actually 18. So I finish high school and I get invited to go be part of this community that flips mobile homes in Texas. And I moved to New Braunfels, Texas.
Wow.
I don't know how my dad let me go. I was like, Dad, I'm 18. I'm an adult. Like, I can do this. And, I go live at this lady, her husband, their kid's house. And I start learning the game of mobile home flipping. But the main lady in charge, I don't know what it was. I think she realized I was very entrepreneurial because I told her I'm flipping cars. Like, I'm doing this. I'm saving up money. And her thing was teaching people how to go find more investors. to invest into her mobile home business. And so for the month there, I didn't learn anything about mobile home flipping. But at that time, I'm just studying Grant Cardone. I'm watching a ton of content online. It was really just YouTube, and then Connected Investors was the other thing. And after a month, I realized I'm not going to learn anything here. So my study was online. And my parents were in Florida for some vacation. I was like, it's a $60 one-way Allegiant flight. I said, hey, I'm going to go spend a week with my family, and then I'll come back. Went to Florida and said, hey, I'm not coming back. I don't want to do this. So I fly back home, and I still am super hungry to get into this real estate game. And I'm still asking around. I want to do an internship. I want to work for free. I want to work for somebody. And at that time, I was leading worship at my church, different churches. And finally, I got an opportunity from a real estate developer where I just got to have a 5-minute conversation in his office. I tried to ask for coffee, like, let's go out to coffee. Let's meet for an hour. And he's like, hey, I have some time in between meetings. If you want to come, I'll talk to you, because somebody else from the church referred me and said, please meet with this guy. He's really hungry. He really wants to get in the game. Long story short, I go meet this person at their office. We have a conversation. I share about how I'm flipping cars, everything that I'm doing. And I say one word that I learned from my trip to Texas, which was, in commercial real estate, what do you look for? There's only one thing that you truly look for, and it's value add. Where can I add value in this play? Is it raising rents? Is it remodeling space? Is it buying land, developing, building it? There's value created. And I don't know what it was, but when I told him that, because he's like, well, why do you want to get into real estate? And he's like, there's multiple exit strategies, and there's the value add play. Whatever I said there, he's like, hey, I have a feeling in my heart. I'm going to give you an internship for 3 months. You're going to follow around the project manager and do whatever he says. And so that was my first foot in the door to real estate. And fast forward from there, I learned the entire game of residential development, commercial development. I went from managing a small I managed a parking lot expansion for Black Rock Coffee. That was my first little project. And after doing all that, they saw how I operated, how I worked. The project manager vouched for me, and I got offered a full-time job. Then I went from that to managing Dutch Bros, Chase Bank, Jiffy Lube, Starbucks.
Managing the construction.
Managing the development side, doing all of the land, the permitting, and then working with a general contractor, and they would build it out, and I'm just managing everything, making sure it's getting done.
So you had the general idea of
So I got the general idea. So
well.
Commercial, Dutch Bros, Chase Bank, Jiffy Lube, Starbucks, and then I was also doing apartments, 180 to 200 unit apartment complexes. I would do all of the raw land. It's nothing. Turn it into parking lot, utilities, get building permits, and hand it off to the GC. They go in, they start going vertical. And then I also was doing residential development. So 60 acres, 600 lot subdivisions. So I did everything from 40 lots up to the biggest project was 529 lots. And
So as you're doing this, are you still flipping cars, or you've moved
I
on?
was flipping cars. And it got to the point where I'm like, man, I can't do both. This is
This is the
difficult.
most exciting part of the story.
Because flipping 4 or 5 cars while working a job means after work I go to the paint shop. I'm like, did you paint the car? I'm ordering the parts. I'm working with the framer. I'm bidding cars. I'm setting bids. Before, you couldn't set bids and then it bids automatically. I'd have to give a bid list to my dad. Hey, bid on these cars for me. So it became a little bit more overwhelming. So I started slowly selling off the cars. But at that time, Ruben sold his house and made $53,000. And I'm thinking, if I could do what Ruben did, I said, Ruben, can I pay you a builder fee? If I go get the land, I get the loan, I just pay you a builder fee because he's doing this for other investors.
I
and
just
people.
lost my job. So I said 100% yes.
So I said, if I go find the land and all that, what I'm doing for my company is commercial development, 50 lots, 100 lots. It's not building houses. And if I'm just a real estate investor and you run the deal, can we do that? I said, yeah, sure. So I start calling around, talking to different wholesalers, people in the game, and saying, hey, if you have a lot, because I already got Ruben a lot by just calling around. I started calling around. I got a lot in Portland. It was permit ready to go. And at that time, I was already selling off my cars. I used to do 5, 6 cars a month. I was barely doing 1 a month. I just couldn't. I didn't have the capacity. So I stacked up some cash from all the cars I was doing and had just enough for my first down payment to buy that lot. So I ended up going under contract, buying this permit ready lot.
How much was the lot?
The lot was $70K, but then I paid the wholesaler $20K. So I paid $90K for the lot.
And
So
is this the lot that he developed?
No.
This is the next
This
one.
is a this
No.
is
So this is so to
It's a
clarify.
ready-to-build
To clarify,
car.
he called the wholesaler, found the deal, 90K,
Mhm.
and then he hired me as the builder
I see.
to run the
So
entire project.
I saw Ruben do what he did,
Mhm.
and that clicked for me. So I'm not the kind of guy that I take the risk and hope it works. My personality is I have to go see somebody do it, then I'll do it. So
And
when I work
makes
for the
sense.
developer, I'm seeing him do it. Okay, I could do it. I saw Ruben buy a lot, get a loan, get it done. Okay, I'll do that too.
And that
So-
lesson of validating the idea, did you learn that from seeing Ruben get $250,000 in debt with T-shirts when he didn't validate the market?
So Arthur started with me printing T-shirts in the garage, and he quickly jumped out of the business.
Mm. Why'd you jump so early on?
I saw more money in cars.
Mm.
So when I would do a t-shirt job, I make $200, and I'm like, I just spent 8 hours of work. I could sit there, bid on a car, work with the
I
framer,
didn't pay
everything.
him enough. That's for sure.
So
All that.
I'm curious, when you see your brother making decent cash profit, it's not overhead heavy business with the cars. Why didn't you switch to cars? Why didn't you get distracted
me?
and switch from T-shirts to something else?
You didn't like cars.
I
He
hated
did.
cars. Every
Mhm.
time I would assemble a car, my knuckles are all bloody and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have the idea that I could hire a subcontractor like in the construction space, and I could hire somebody to pay them to assemble the car for me. Arthur quickly transitioned.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't assemble. I didn't get my hands dirty. Bought the car, sent it to the frame shop, parts delivered, painter. I paid somebody to assemble it. All I did is drive a nice car. I would detail them.
I
And
would
then I started
probably-
leveraging out the detailing. I didn't want to detail either.
I would probably say also I was a little bit prideful in the thing that this business is gonna work. It's gonna
Mhm.
work. It's gonna explode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make money. Like I was sold on my own vision.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'm the type of guy that I'll jump in and then I'll get overwhelmed with the details, like during the construction, and I have to figure out that stuff. He's the opposite. He'll love the details, but he's like, how do I take the risk to do this first project? Guys, the crazy thing is to me as on how this deal worked out, because for me, it also changed the way that I look at construction and building houses. So you paid the wholesaler.
Yeah, so I paid the wholesaler the $20,000, bought the lot, permit ready, got a loan in place. It was 12% interest, 3 points on the whole entire loan. So I was paying 15%. I didn't understand at that time that that's the most expensive money out there. But
Full Dutch.
But I had no experience. So paid the lender, started building out the project, put it up for sale, ended up selling it, paid Ruben a $20K builder fee, paid the wholesaler $20K, and still I walked away with $48,000 or $50,000 of profit. I ended up doubling my money.
Wow.
And that was on the side. My side hustle was I would make 50K in cars ish. And so I made the same exact amount of money. And to me, it was the same effort and process as one car.
Mm.
You find one good deal, you get the permits done with an architect, you hire the builder, and you sell it. And you have a lender, and you sell it.
Except
Well,
it takes 6 to 9 months.
takes a little more capital and more time. But then I go, well, I'm
More
finding-
time to finish the project, but
Yeah.
not more time to manage it.
not more time to manage it. It took the same amount of time for me and energy. Not for the other people involved. They get paid for their work. It's business to business, just like cars. Cars have to find the deal, order parts, take it to the framer,
Deal
take
with
it to the
15
painter.
customers.
Yeah,
If
take
you're
it to the
selling
print
15
painter.
cars.
Then I have to. It's literally. It was to me. It was the aha moment. It's the same exact process as cars. Because then once I finish it and assemble it, I post it for sale and I wait for a customer to buy it. Same thing.
So for this deal that you guys did together, Arthur, you got the land secured, okay? And then Ruben built the house, and then you had an investor that funded the entire
I funded my
construction.
own.
So he
You
sold his
funded
cars.
I had cars. I was already at 15. I was hustling. I was saving up
Well,
money.
you funded you just down payment for
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, I funded the equity, which is the 50, 60K down, and then
Mhm.
I made the profit. In this case, I hired Ruben as a builder, and I paid him
So
a flat
by
fee.
this moment, just to clarify, maybe I already built and sold my first house for that 53,000.
Yeah.
That's completed.
You already have experience.
Arthur now saw that, and Arthur now is still working his full-time development job, trying to get out of cars because he can't handle it anymore. He used to flip 40 a year. Now he's doing 1 a month, all the way down to 12. He does his first deal. Arthur, how much time did you spend on actually doing that deal?
Honestly, less than 10 hours, 10, 12 hours.
No,
Because
even less. Because I was on site
all I
every day.
had to do is I got the lot locked in. I worked with the lender, filled out the application, got approved. Good, credit was good. That was fine. And then I said, build the house. Here's the plans. Build the same finishes as the house you did. So what do I have to do? I don't
Where
choose
did you
paint
get the
colors.
plans?
Everything was permit ready. So I
Oh,
bought a
okay. So
permit ready
plan
project
was-
for somebody else that didn't want to take it on. So I bought it. They probably ended up profiting 30, 40K on the land. Cool. But I said, do everything you did on that other house you built, same thing. So I'm not here designing, managing, choosing. And I just followed along. He did all the work, and I would stop by once a week and be like, this is so cool. A house is being built. So I was a real estate investor. And I realized, and so now I consider that a developer. A developer is somebody that understands how to find the land, understands how to run the numbers, lock in the financing, and work with the other people, which is builders and lenders. And so you work with them, they're moving the needle forward, and you're just adult babysitting. That was always the term that we used, is you're adult babysitting. Why? Because it's other adults, and we're making sure everybody's doing their job. And it was that simple. So I did this first house while working this job, and didn't take up any time for my job. My main focus was doing my full-time position, and after hours, on the way home, I'd get photos, videos, projects moving forward, emails, submit one draw a month. That's what I was doing. It's that simple for the financing. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing I could do more deals. So I took that money, I doubled it. I'm like, I can go buy 3 lots. So I go and get 3 lots. And people are seeing what I'm doing or hearing about it. They have some money. I'm like, hey, there's 5 lots. Do you want to put your money in? And we'll split profits. All you do is bring the capital. I'll do the rest. And
So
what am I
so-
doing? I'm bringing in the investor. I'm hiring the builder. I'm doing all the plans, everything else. So now I have 3 of my own money, 2 of somebody else's money. I'm getting 100% of this profit minus builder fees and 50% of this profit minus builder fees, and realizing I can do more.
The crazy thing is just like Arthur is managing an entire build for Chase Bank, right? Arthur's not going out and scheduling electrical inspection for Chase Bank. He hired a GC while working at the company. The GC manages all the details. So the exact same way, now I'm in Arthur's back pocket. Arthur's finding the capital because he can underwrite the deal, find it, hires me as a GC, and he's essentially the managing partner of the deal. They bring the capital, and he invests. And he while he's working his full-time job, he can be a real estate investor on
So
the side.
just like there's people across the nation, they buy rentals. You work your full-time job, you're buying these rentals. You hire a contractor to do some remodel and put the renter in. The same concept I took, and I'm like, I could do this in the new construction game.
So
This is really
it's
cool.
basically, from what I understand, your job is to underwrite the deal, is to make sure the deal is viable.
Yep,
And
because
that's
I'm
it.
responsible.
So there is a formula by which you go through and you make sure that the deal pans out to be profitable,
Yep.
or at least
Yep.
mathematically it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
That's
So
the most important
if
part
you have
of real
that
estate.
formula, anybody can right now start building, start
absolutely.
start
100%.
developing.
I always say the 2 things that a developer should have is understanding the art of a deal, which means how to find a deal, and number 2, understanding the numbers in the deal. If you understand those 2 things, everything else, there's room for error. Meaning construction costs were a little more than expected, or financing was a little more expensive, but you have a good deal.
But that's experience. That
Yeah,
comes
and that's
with
experience. But those 2 things, I think, are the most valuable skill set any real estate professional can have.
And how long, when you were apprenticing at the company you're working for, did it take you to learn those things?
Within the first year.
So he was apprenticing for 3 months.
For 3 months, and then I
then
started a
you
full-time job. And what's crazy is at the company, in the first 6 months, I brought 9 deals to the table. My job was to be a project manager. I was sourcing, scouting deals, talking to property owners, and I bring 9 deals to the table. The owner's like, "What in the world? How'd you do this?" And so it wasn't.
So when you say you brought 9 deals to the table, what does that actually mean? You're making
10
calls,
lot
you're
subdivision,
finding-
30 lot subdivision. I'm bringing deals for the company because that's my
How do you find them?
just talking to property owners, knocking on doors, whatever I had to do to get a hold of people and talk
And
to
that's
them.
not even your job.
And that wasn't my job, but
Why
I
did
had
you
the
do that?
entrepreneurial spirit. And I even said, if I ever bring any projects or like deals, can I get a profit cut? And so he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I don't think he thought anything of it. And so I was like,
You didn't think you'd actually do it.
I'm gonna go do this. And so I ended up bringing a deal that we ended up just flipping the paper, made $100,000. I ended up bringing a.
Did you get paid for that deal?
I got paid, yeah. I ended up bringing another deal where we bought a 80,000 square foot retail space for $11 million from a California buyer. Did a remodel, ended up selling it for $18 million. So I got paid for that. I ended up
Is
bringing.
it the one in downtown?
No, this is in East Vancouver. I brought another one in closer to Battleground, 65 acres of 10 acres of commercial. Well, this one, and then 180 apartments and 330 residential townhomes. I brought the deal to the table. So I was doing all of this because I had more of the entrepreneurial spirit while managing these projects. And I'd managed $30 to $50 million worth of projects.
So
And
if you're driving through the city, you just see something that you
I
think
see
could
something,
be
I'm
interesting.
going to do whatever I have to do to get a hold of them.
You walk into a store, you're like, hey, who's the property, owner
Yeah, or
here?
just conversation, right? If you're in the area, hey, do you know who owns that property? Oh, yeah, it's Jim. Oh, do you have his cell phone? I wanted to give him a call. Like, whatever you have to do, I think if somebody is hungry enough, they'll do it. Like, at the end of the day, that's the way it works. Go look up on the public records whose mailing address. If you're not scared, go drive or Google their number. Like, whatever you have to do, do it. And things will start flowing. And like one of them was, it was for sale for like 5 years. And what I did is I saw it was previously for sale and called the agent, got the agent involved, got a hold of the owner. We negotiated a price and done. It wasn't even on the market, but I saw that it was for sale. I saw the sign and I knew, well, if I get this price for it, we can make it happen. So just, again, that's why I say finding deals and running the numbers, that's the biggest skill set. So I'm doing all this for the company. I'm also investing my money, making sure it's growing, which is new construction. I then quickly realized I could just keep doing what I'm doing and bring more partners on board, and I don't have to work a full-time job. I could just be the syndicator, I guess you could call it, which ends up being a real estate developer.
Was there a time when an investor put in money and you guys failed and you lost money on the deal?
We had one deal, and this is already after we exited, but at that time, every deal was making sense. Like, markets were picking up.
Yeah, so that
Interest rates started cooling. On a fourplex, I think we lost like 16 grand.
Okay. How long ago was when you started?
And I started scaling off 2022, where I really started doing my own projects.
You've been after COVID when the prices were really
before COVID. During COVID, I was just investing, right? Doing projects, and then when I ventured off on my own, I brought in more capital, went heavy.
Arthur, you're working for the developer, doing a lot of things, a lot of investments, a lot of deals on the side. What's going on? Is that okay? Does he find out?
Yeah.
Is
So
he okay
for me, I was comfortable because it wasn't his business model where I'm simply investing. So I was investing, not operating at that time. So I would put in my 50,000. Everything's all done. I said, Ruben, handle it. Do this design, and I'm out. Only time is after work. I'm checking in. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? So that was more of a real estate portfolio. But when a development, so I brought these 9 deals to the table. We sold one for $100K. I just assigned it to another developer. A couple of them we took down, 50 lots, 200 lots. Then there was one deal that was an 8-lot short plat. And my boss was saying, 50 lots or more. I don't want to take on small projects. And so I came to him because now this is development. Development, like creating lots. This is what he does. It's conflict of interest. It's on my conscience. I'm not going to go do this. I was doing deals in Portland where I'm just investing. I wasn't even investing in Vancouver because the company was in Vancouver. So I said, well, I'm going to just invest outside of the city. Just like I'd go buy some rentals in South Carolina, I'm going to invest in Portland. This one's in Vancouver. I come to him and said, hey, there's this 8-lot short plat. I know you don't like to take on these small projects. I really want to do a deal for my dad. So at that time, my dad wanted to get into building. He was thinking to switch from cars to building. So I really want to do a deal for my dad and build myself a personal house. Is it okay if I take this deal and my dad's going to do it? I'm just going to help him manage it. I'm going to develop it for him, do the paperwork, get it approved. And his response, I was really surprised. Like, I was so nervous going in. I was like, man, like, this is scary. His response was, yeah, you can absolutely do it as long as you do it after work hours. And if you do anything during work hours, please make up for it after hours. So if there's a meeting with the city for an hour, I work an hour later. And he said, okay.
That's good.
And so my conscience was clean. I said, awesome. This is such a great, entry into getting into the game of doing development here locally on my own, meaning I'm responsible for it. So we end up locking up the deal, and I go through the development process. I get it approved for 8 lots. And my agreement was, I'm going to develop this for you. I get one of the lots. That's my fee. And so I get one of the lots, you get the rest. It's yours. Go build, because my dad wanted to do construction. A lot of his friends are in the game.
Your dad is the investor.
So my dad decided, pulled a line of credit, bought the land, we developed it, I get a lot in return. for that specific deal.
Mhm.
Went through, finished it up, all done. And then my dad says, hey, I don't want to build the houses. I'm going to keep doing cars. But Ruben, because Ruben's starting to do his business, he's starting to get into construction. Can you build the other 7 homes?
Mm-hmm.
So my dad wanted to diversify the risk. He ended up selling off 3 lots. Those 3 lots covered majority of the development, paid off the line of credit, was pretty much not much cash into the deal. I got my lot. Ruben's like, hey, I want to buy a lot from you and build a personal house. And so long story short, Ruben builds out these projects or all these homes, makes a builder fee on them, builds his personal house, makes $250,000. I built my personal house and made over $350K because I got the land for free. And so this was that massive moment of, wow,
We are superheroes.
this is crazy. It's insane that you can take a small little short plat and do so much with it. And I'm over here doing 500 lots for another company. And that's one of the moments where I realized I got to do this on my own.
So you
And
left.
So then
I remember driving with Arthur in the car.
I scaled out and was like, all right, I just sold my house. I had the cash, and I invested into a 15-unit and a 12-unit project in Vancouver, left, and we started going from there.
I'm on top of the world, baby.
I mean, yeah, it was exciting. My office was in my apartment because I sold my house. My office was in my apartment on my dining room table. I had 2 screens in my laptop and just going at it.
You have a picture of that office?
I think
I do have a picture of my check, the first check I got for commission. The $90K, I got 10%, so I got a $9,000 check. And for me, that was a lot of money to do a deal. But also in that moment, I realized I could just make $90K, like do these deals myself. And so it was good. It was what I will always say is in those moments.
How did you depart from the development?
I remember driving with Arthur in the car, and he was contemplating. He was like, "How am I going to pay?"
It took me almost a year to quit, actually. So for probably 6 months. 6 months, I was like, I gotta quit. I didn't know how to do it because I felt like this was my stepping stone, and it almost felt like I was taking a piece out of my life. But at the same time, I understood that I brought so much value to the company. He made $5-10 million on one deal. He made over $5 million. So I know that what I brought to the table was 100% worth it to him. And that now it's that next stage of I can do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe if it was structured differently, where if I don't know how you can say this the right way, if it was more of a partnership moving forward, because to see like, man, this guy's an entrepreneur, let's do it together. And I had people reaching out to me that were in the game, like, let's partner, let's start a company together. We'll split and do these deals. But I knew that like, hey, I want to do this. I want to bring investors. And
So
scale
his
it
mistake
myself.
is not seeing you, not seeing more potential in
Seeing
you.
me as an intern. And I think we sometimes forget.
Why do you think that is? Because I know the guy. I know he's smart.
I just think I picked it up really quick and.
No.
I don't
Why
know.
do you think he didn't see something more in you than just an intern?
That I don't know.
I think I know the answer. Because he's too busy. He's too busy. He's running around. I've heard Arthur say before that he told him, I sleep with nails in my stomach. And so his focus was never on Arthur. Did
he have a lot of Arthurs?
No.
I don't
No.
know. Just people running the projects, doing their job, projects moving along.
Now, there's other people who are doing what you're doing for the company.
But they weren't finding deals.
So they don't do acquisitions. They just do project management.
And I'm trying to piece together in my head, like, what makes you different? And would you say that starting in cars taught you the art of the deal from a very early age? Because it's the same thing. You're looking for the car. You're trying to find the potential. You do X, Y, Z to the car. You can sell it for X amount of profit later. It's the same kind of model, but you know where to get the cars at a rate that it makes sense for you. And you just apply that knowledge to
100%. I would say
It's
that right
the
there,
blueprint.
that
It's
right
the same
there
blueprint.
taught me the fundamental of understanding how deals work in general.
Yeah.
You go buy an iPhone for $500, you fix the screen for $50, and you sell it for $1,000
Yeah.
because you know they're worth $1,000. The same concept. I would run spreadsheets. I would run all my numbers. How much should I pay? What are they worth? All of that tailored into real estate. And so everything I was doing at cars at a young age, and I don't know if I fell in love with spreadsheets or I just did it because I used to do it on paper, and then I started building out formulas, how much I should pay for a car, how much it's going to cost, and it spits out my profit. So like I was very analytical when it came to that. I love numbers, and I think that was to my advantage.
Yeah.
And then the car sales,
David,
car sales.
So understanding the value and then learning how to buy under value and selling for value over. That's simple. So any industry you go, let's say electric dirt bikes, any kid can go online, just start watching the deals and trying to negotiate and trying to see, okay, this type of a bike, 2024 with 300 miles on it is worth about 4,000. So how do you realize it? You just watch the market. You just watch the market. Same thing, you have Craigslist, you have Facebook Marketplace.
Yep.
You know that the value for the bike is about 4,000. All of a sudden, you see a bike of that value for 3,000. What do? You go buy it right away.
Yep.
You flip it, you sell it. So, and then another thing is the principle of selling, the art of the deal, which everybody's talking about. So a used car sales guy is the easiest job to land right now, in my opinion. There's so many dealerships out there. There's so many used car dealerships out there. What do you need? Anybody will hire you. You just show up and tell them, I wanna work for you. Anyone will give you that shot. So right now, if you're 17, 18, show up at any dealership. I bet if you show up at 3, one will give you a job right there on the spot. And then just learn, just prove yourself. Just start selling. Maybe you're gonna sell 2, 3, a week. And then you're gonna perfect your game and you're gonna sell 5, 10. And that's where you start. And if you can sell a used car, you can sell anything.
Yeah, and a big book that helped me, because I was really into books at that age, was How to Win Friends and Influence People, if I said that correctly.
Great book.
And when I worked for a dealership, I went and started that job. The one thing I focused on, 2 things actually, was what do they want and what do they need. I start with what they want, then I give them what they need. What did that look like? Somebody walked into the store. I'm like, oh, what are you looking for? I really like the STI. Awesome. Do you have any pets, family? Oh, I got 2 kids. This. I'm like, okay, they probably need a Subaru Forester, not a STI. Well, let's test drive the STI and the Forester. Well, here you can fit your dog. Here you get some speed. And that's all I was doing. And that simple rule, the second month at the dealership, I broke their record, and they've been around for over 10 years. I sold 43 cars in my second month. And that's literally all I would do. And I was a 17-year-old kid, and adults would buy from me. So if there's somebody 17, you can absolutely sell. You just have to understand.
They're thinking, okay, a 17-year-old cannot lie. He's probably genuine.
Yeah,
and he's legit.
Well, that's all I would do. And I would get them on a test
you.
drive, and then I understood how to leverage. And now that I'm thinking about it, I understood coordination. Because I know if I can get 3 people on test drives while other customers are coming in, I'll go talk to them, set them up. While those customers I have the other 3 customers filling out applications for loans. And so I would manage all these customers. The other sales guy is walking around, goes on a test drive. He's waiting for the guy to come back. Guy comes back. He's like, do you want to fill out a loan application? By the time he finished with 1 customer, I already have 10. And so I understood the game of leverage, coordination, and finding what somebody maybe wants and addressing it, but then giving them what they need. And so that also taught me a lot with real estate, because then I start negotiating with property owners. You want this, you want that. Well, what's your reason for selling? Well, I want to go see my daughter in Utah. Great. And so now you're understanding the real need in a person, while obviously talking through their wants of what they want with their life, with their whatever it looks like this in the situation.
It's interesting hearing your story, because one of the most common things you hear in entrepreneurship is selling is the number one skill, and it's a foundation for everything, which I think it is. But the skill with cars that you stacked on top of sales is arbitrage. We're able to find something under market value and sell it for over. What other skills do you think you got that you stacked that really kind of moved the needle for you?
Yeah, I would say sales, number 1, and then just understanding buying and selling and making a profit. If you have those 2 things.
Understanding economics.
Yeah, that's absolutely valuable. But then once you have those 2 things, is falling in love with numbers in general. Because you can go into deals blind and hope at the end you make money. Doesn't matter what. You could start a business and hope you make money, find out you're in debt. You can go buy a property because it feels like a good deal. You build the house and you end up losing money. I always say the money is made on the purchase in anything. When I go buy the cars, if I bought the right deal, I can go resell it as is and still make money. If I buy the right land, I can go sell it as is and make money. or you create value. So I buy a raw piece of dirt, I get it permitted, I go through 3 years of process, it now has a different value. Why? Because nobody can buy time. So somebody can come in today and start building. There's value in that. I know people that just focus on doing that. And so understanding that the deal is in the beginning, not in the end. It's not how much money you made in the end. When somebody exits a company, it's because they had a really good idea in the beginning and then they executed. And so that's one thing that I definitely have even learned where I bought bad deals. We lost some money on a fourplex, but we make money on other projects. It always came down, this was a really good deal. I look back, too high of a purchase price for that specific deal. And then real estate related, it just depends on where you're at, right? If I can hold everything, I would be a lot further in life if I held all my projects, because real estate only goes up, but I'm active. I'm still in accumulation. We're doing deals. But there's that other piece of it is if you can, most people that are in the game 20 years say, I wish I held more.
Talk about off-market versus on-market deals, because I feel like what you do doesn't work if you're finding property on LoopNet or Zillow.
Yeah.
It works because you're knocking on doors and you have a network and you continue to expand it and grow it.
So yes and no. I've bought in deals on the MLS where I've made a couple $100K. Like I built a duplex and made $230K. It was listed on the MLS, the lot.
And you just saw something that other people missed? Like what was it about that?
The difference with MLS versus off-market is very simple. Competition. When you find a deal, anything, a car, iPhone, when you find a good deal on Facebook or Craigslist, what happens? Everybody's calling. Everybody's competing. When I'm doing it off-market, me and the property owner, we're negotiating. We might do it for a week, a month, whatever. But the off-market deals sometimes will take me 5 years to get them to sell to me. It takes a lot of work. So that's the difference. MLS has deals, but you're going to compete. Off-market, you might have some competition, but mostly you don't. It's just a matter of timing. And not everybody, you can't force anybody to sell. On the market, they're ready to sell. They're out there. Off-market, it's a game of nurture, a game of follow-up, understanding, or a game of relationship. If I have a good relationship with somebody and eventually they're ready to sell, they remember, they know me, they know my family, they know what I'm doing, they're going to call me. So even like my boss, he's continuing to do these great deals because he's very good at building relationship with people. So it's not like, I'm just like doing crazy things every day. It's nurturing relationships.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
your
difference.
ex-boss.
Because I have done deals on the MLS, plenty, and they've made money. I've bought in deals that were not the best, and it's just always competitive. It's me and 5 other offers.
With your nurturing, do you have like a CRM that you use to keep track? Like, hey, I knocked on this door, I got this guy's number, I'm going to keep following up, because you probably aren't getting.
For me, everything is spreadsheets and my iPhone. It's crazy as it sounds for development, because you need one deal, and it's going to do well. Versus our real estate wholesaling company, we have a whole CRM built out. We have a whole nurture sequence built out. We have automations built out, because there we're doing 10, 20, 30. We've done over 100 deals so far. That's a whole niche nurture sequence, and it's all through the CRM tracked.
So the wholesaling business is you've systemized the process of finding deals.
Yep.
How'd you do that?
I'm the nerd that builds out all of the sequences and the automations and all the follow-up sequences. But I think the big picture idea is that all of it simply just takes, like, you have to do it first. Because we started wholesaling all manual. We started finding deals all manual. And then we can't get enough deals. So what do? We systematize it, make it faster, make it automated. And then we move on to the next thing. And we conquer each little kind of milestone one at a time. And I think fast forward, 18 months now, maybe 24 months now, we've done maybe 1.4 million in revenue, and most of it now is automated for the specific wholesale
Is like we flip contracts across the nation. We've done 18 states. So like I just sold a deal in Pennsylvania. We closed on it this week. Today I closed a deal in Virginia. So our team's working. It's definitely, though, it's distressed owners. It's a lot harder. Wholesale. Development, different type of owner, maybe farmers. Commercial, you're talking sophisticated, different type of owner.
Right.
They all have a different way. It's, I think, the same with marketing and media. Every customer or every type of customer has a different way or different approach to market to them. It all really depends.
So how are you building the market knowledge to actually know how to talk to a farmer versus like a lot that you could do like a subdivision on?
I mean, for me, it's all similar negotiation. You're just negotiating. You're finding out what they want, the price, and make sure the numbers make sense. So whether I'm doing a commercial deal or a residential deal, it all comes down to the numbers. It's really what it is. If somebody wants an astronomical number and we can't come to a middle ground, there's no point.
Right now, as I understand, I can go work for someone, gain 1 year, 2 years of experience, and then start my own thing. What do you guys think about that? Can we talk about?
If life was a Monopoly game, that is the cheat code. I don't care what anyone says. College is very important, but there is nothing in this world like actually doing and working and putting your hands on something like a real estate development internship, like working as a project manager, managing 18 houses. The amount of time it would take me to start a business, make mistakes, scale to build 18 houses all under my own strength is impossible.
And as I understand, you both were really underpaid in the beginning. Like you were 3 months intern, and then you've been paid, but not a lot.
Well, most likely because I didn't have the experience, right?
No, obviously.
But yeah, it
obviously.
was not.
But
It
you
was
have
not.
the
I could not live and have family, kids, none of that. For a single person, it was enough to survive.
Okay.
With no experience, I think I got paid pretty good at that time. Around that, with no experience, I was getting paid $4,500 a month in salary.
Okay.
Hired by the builder, the national builder. So I'd say it wasn't bad.
But I will say there's two ways that I see it, or two different avenues. The first would be working for somebody in the industry, understanding it and learning it. But the big key factor is if you come in with the mindset, I'm going to give them as much value as possible, meaning I want it to be worth it for them. That's only beneficial to you because you're going to learn that much more. You're going to be that much more aggressive and help them scale, and it's going to benefit you. My mindset was never to leave, but I did everything like they say, do it for the Lord. I did it as if I was doing it for the Lord. I went all in. I was like, I'm going to bring the best deals possible, break records. Same with the dealership. I broke records there. It wasn't for it was, I'm going to serve this person.
I actually have a similar story where I came in as an intern. I did business development. I worked, paid fairly low. Maybe not underpaid, but just like you, for the experience. I didn't have much experience. I was running a lot of my businesses, one-man show type of businesses before, and then I come to internet marketing company, and obviously I don't have experience, but I understand the principles of business. I understand principles of business development and sales. So that really helped me. But there comes a moment when I save the company from bankruptcy, and then we start making a lot of money. A lot of money is like over $1 million a month in revenue with decent margin. For a company that was pretty much dead, it's a lot. So I come to my partner, at that time, my boss, and I strike a deal with him. I'm like, let's become partners. And his first reaction is like, what are you talking about? And I was able to use my sales skills and just ability to convince someone to become a partner with me. So it's the same thing that you would come to your developer and you convince him, let's become partners. I want to have a stake in this business. So it doesn't work for everyone, but he should have saw much more in you than apparently he saw, because I've lost rarely, but I've lost good people that we didn't value them enough. We didn't give them a chance that they really, really deserved, and we lost them. They branched off, and they're doing good. You know, they found a niche. They're working good, and my hope, and by the way, it's a very important skill, is to be able to see those people. If he saw a potential partner, he would not lose you. And hopefully this is one thing that we learn down the road, is don't be greedy. Sharing is caring. And then the one thing is you can do is the way you grow your business is really seeing the potential, giving it the right components for growth, nurturing it, and making sure it doesn't go away, right? So delegation is another one that you've learned. You're like, okay, shovel, I'm digging a hole, making the sauna, and then you realize I can hire people, and it's true for everything. But I do agree with you that you have to do it yourself first. You have to get your hands dirty first before you hire, because you need to understand economics. You need to understand how long will it take you to get that deal. Then you sell it and you make profit, but you just need to understand the formula, build the formula, systemize it, and then scale the business.
100%. Yeah, I would say that's a huge thing. And working for somebody, as we mentioned, that's a great entry into whatever industry you want to get into, and pretty much any industry makes money. The second thing I would say is, or you find a mentor, and I would say somebody that's done it, right? And I think the statistic is, it's millions of baby boomers are retiring and don't have anyone to pass down a business to.
Wow.
That's the current statistic. And so I would say the second piece where we teach people how to build, I have a student that's 25 and he has a mentor that's in his 80s that has unlimited capital. And that mentor is investing into him and allowing him to learn how to build through us. And now he's building 6 homes with this mentor, and they're splitting profits and doing their thing. But without that mentor, he would not be doing what he is today. And so I think that's another avenue of learn from somebody that's already done it, that maybe doesn't need anything in life. The only thing they want to do is give, right? And usually it's somebody that's been through quite a bit, and they're like, hey, I just want to pass down what I've learned. That gentleman has no more family, nothing. And so he's pouring what he has into this 25-year-old, and at no expense. He's not.
But the only thing is, find a mentor at step 2. Step 2 meaning when you gain some experience,
yeah,
and then you're ready to start your business, and that's when you're ready. Because if I start from a fresh, clean sheet of paper, I know nothing, and I want a mentor, the mentor is going to say, well, you need to know what's P&L. Well, what's P&L? Well,
Right.
You need to know how to pull permits. How do you do that? So mentorship, 100% agree, but you have to go work for that pizzeria, figure out, at least work 6 to 12 months before you come to me and say, hey, help me out with my business.
Yeah.
What am I missing? I think I know how to make pizza. I create great pizza. My customers are happy, but I'm not sure how to sell more or how to manage employees and things. So the others missing points in the business.
Yeah, it's still working for somebody, right? So like you go find, let's say you want to get into the HVAC space. I know somebody that exited an HVAC company for $100 million. You go find somebody that's already been in the game for a certain amount of time, they're retiring, go work for them, learn the trade, and if you get a piece of that pie or they pass it down, what a great way to not have to restart your own business. I think our culture thinks you have to start your own thing. I actually think a lot of times you could do way greater partnering up with somebody.
I agree.
And so that's what I mean is, if there's millions of companies that are baby boomers, meaning they're retiring in the next 5 to 7 years, some of them will shut down their companies and others might sell off. If a young person can get in there, have the right charisma, attitude. I know somebody in our community went to that similar, it was a construction company. Now he runs the whole entire business. I know somebody else here locally, they do custom signs for stadiums and everything else. Not signs, it's fabrication. And he's going to get 10 or 15% of the company, and he's going to run it. That's massive if the company does $40 million a year. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean is understanding that opportunity.
Equity.
Yeah, understand that opportunity. Security. And what's going to happen is you might have to work there for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, but you could be worth a lot more than you starting a small thing and eventually growing. Usually year 10 is when the business starts to pick up. So that's what I say with that. And then the other thing is paid mentorship. We're our wholesale company. We decided to start it. Interest rates were high. We're like, man, we have all these projects. We want to have some sort of cash flow. So instead of me trying to figure it out, I found somebody that was doing $1 to $3 million a year. I said, let me pay you, teach me all your systems, all your CRMs, everything you're doing, and I'm going to implement it. I wrote the check, and I saved myself 5 years of experience. So there's that option, but that's not usually for, that's obviously when you're already in business and you're like, I want to take it to the next level. And so I actually believe in also paying for consulting and things like that, because you can expedite and shave 5 years of experience right off the bat.
Yeah, I think that's super important. There's a lot of people who say like, oh, like you're gonna buy a course, really? Like you have YouTube, you have ChatGPT, but it's like, you know, those same people won't have an issue going and getting $200,000 in debt for a college degree, but like to spend five or 10 grand on a course, all of a sudden, you know, they don't know where their wallet is and they are justifying why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I'd love to hit on that point.
I was going to say, I've bought in over 15 courses because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but it did point me in the right direction. I even bought wholesale courses, everything. And the wholesale
This
course.
was back when you were.
This is before
18,
this is when I was
17.
17. I even bought a wholesale course for $500 in 2016 or something. I used those skills, and that's how I was finding my development deals. And I didn't necessarily do what he did, but I understood the concept. How do I get owners? I didn't know it was public data. I didn't know there's this. I didn't know that. So I literally bought 15 courses at that young age, and it was like $1,000 course. I've paid up to like $7,000 for a marketing course. Maybe I should have taken that one more serious. But I was doing that at that time because I was hungry, and I don't regret it because it pushed me forward. And so to those that are against it, when I was 17, 18, I was buying them left and right. And I still sometimes will buy to get better at a skill. Because if somebody knows something and they're willing to put it out, I'm okay to pay for it to learn it and get better at what I'm doing, my craft. And one tiny idea could shift my business.
Well, it's the hardest thing to start. That's when you don't know a lot and nobody's really helping you because nobody's taking you serious.
Yeah.
But once you're on a level, you can pick up a phone and call somebody from the industry and just have a chat, a 20-minute chat. Cost you nothing, but you're going to get a lot of valuable insights and advice. Should I do this properly? Should I do not? And so on.
But to add a little bit of emphasis on what you said, they'll spend $200K to go to college. But when you really think about it, who's the teacher? Is it someone that has actually done it? Or is it someone that just knows theory? And I think that's the biggest problem with our college system today. If we could, I don't know, pay people, I guess I'm coming back to the same concept. If we could pay people to create courses that are actually doing the business, people would be so much more successful to actually learn. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I come to somebody that knows how to create the most beautiful business plan, I'll take that information, I'll be able to digest it with my business experience, all my failures. Be like, oh, I'm not gonna blow money on marketing because I've done that before. I'm gonna not hire as many salespeople, or I'll hire more experienced salespeople. When I'm running a construction project and I'm gonna do, we have 114 houses in permitting right now. I'm already thinking ahead of time, okay, when those houses are gonna be coming soon to approvals. I'm not going to make the same mistakes and hire inexperienced project managers. I'm going to hire experienced project managers. Mm-hmm. But I had to learn that through experience. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And so I would rather learn from someone and pay a price to learn from that someone that's actually done it instead of going to college. And maybe I'm a little bit too heavy on that side, but it's what's worked for me. Because I went to college. I did Running Start. I didn't learn the right things. I learned how to spell better. I learned how to have better grammar. I learned how to do a little bit of public speaking, you know what I mean? But they didn't teach me how to project manage, build a house, run a P&L, learn about balance sheets. How do banks look at balance sheets, and how will they approve me for a line of credit that I can use for my business? Nobody teaches that like someone that's actually gone through it, at least to that level of detail. And
that's my long-term dream. I want to build out a high school of entrepreneur business owners that are not really doing as much business, meaning retired, and they come in and teach once a week.
Well, throughout generations, how was the knowledge passed on to other people? Through apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And the bigger schools came literally 100, 150 years ago.
Yep.
But before, it was a master that knows a skill of some sort, and he passes on the information. I actually learned that to this day, the watchmakers in Switzerland pass on to one to maybe three people. So there's Patek Philippe, the brand, and there is a master that knows specifics of watchmaking, and he passes on. And there's also so Patek Philippe, another really high-end brand, they they service their watches regardless of their age.
Hmm.
So I think Vacheron Constantin is like 1755. So there's watches that are 150 years old, and people bring them and they have to fix them. And
Wow.
they've been dropped, they've been broken, they've been stepped on, they've been run over, you know. And there's watchmakers that have that experience and knowledge of making those parts for those watches manually, and they make them and they pass it on. So it was pretty fascinating. But same thing in business. You know, you can go to school, you can learn a lot of theory, but I believe business wise, not career, we're not talking about becoming doctor or engineer, but business wise, it has to be passed on from one person to another, not through a book, not through something like a course, where you can definitely
Some kind of experience.
some sort of experience. And that's when in 3 months, which was fascinating to hear, like 6 months it took you to become bold enough to start building for yourself. So 6 months, that's pretty impressive.
Because,
And what-
because,
what
it's,
age-
because it's not taught, it's caught.
Right.
That's just the
what
truth.
age were you when you built your first house?
I was probably 24.
24.
Same with the development side, like residential development. It took me about 6 months to pick it up. I understood the process start to finish in around 6 months.
And I think the key here is like so many people who are stuck, they don't know what to do. They don't know what their next move is they'll spend a lot of time on Twitter or X or YouTube, like learning, but like you guys actually took action, right? So you weren't just consuming information, you were actively trying to obtain it and then apply it, and that made a big difference. I'm curious, a question. So you said you bought a number of different courses early on. If you never bought those courses, how do you think your trajectory would have been impacted?
Oh, I think it would have changed a lot, to be honest. Because I took marketing courses, I took wholesale courses, I did consulting courses. It's so random, but it taught me business basics. And so all of those things, if you look at what I did in cars and even real estate, really correlated with that. So even spreadsheets and all that, I was taught through all that education. And so to say where I'd be today, I don't know. I don't know because I used a lot of those strategies.
And is it fair to say those courses truly were a shortcut for you?
100%.
Yeah.
Because the guys were doing millions, and I'm like, okay, if I can figure out how to do a little bit of what you're doing. And if I look back, if I took more action than I did, and that's the problem is I did all these and I didn't know what to do with it. It was the analysis paralysis. So I started looking for an internship, which is good. So I started taking action.
So you have the
So I
information.
think you
how
start
do I
by
apply it?
educating, then you take
How
the
do I
action.
test my theory?
Exactly. You get the theory and then you go take action. And my action, if I was a little bit more entrepreneurial, wholesale was the hottest 2017 to 2021. Like I know guys were doing 10 million. It's crazy. And they were running massive operations. Right now it's still good. There's different strategies that are working today that were easier then. It was just easier. It's kind of like, email marketing when it came out in 2013, 14, 15, you could have done crazy stuff. Today, there's a lot of restrictions. SMS, a lot of restrictions.
Email marketing was hot in 2000.
Yeah, 2000. It was hot, sure. And so now AI is the thing, right? But at that time, if I did take the right action, I could have built a massive business. I didn't have the risk tolerance, but I still took action and I still ended up being successful because I went and worked for somebody that was doing it. So you have to understand, some people will take the risk and boom, just start it and fail their way forward. Other people go work for somebody, understand how it works, see the puzzle pieces moving like a watchmaker. I would be the guy that would learn from somebody and show me how to do the watch, and I would become excellent at it. Like that's my learning style. And so that's what I did.
I came up with this analogy while we were talking is business is like chess. So when you lose a game in chess, do you quit and you just stop playing chess ever? No. But you analyze where you made that mistake. Same thing in business. You go back, you analyze, what did I do wrong with my t-shirt business? Where did I make that mistake? and then you come to a conclusion that, okay, if I wouldn't make that mistake, I would be successful. I would make this work. So rarely I see people that started a business, failed, and they quit forever and they go work 9-to-5 job. Rarely I ever see that. I only see people that failed, and that ignites them even more than the first time when they started, to start another business or to try again, round two, in the same industry, and so on. So successful people, they do fail. They just learn from their mistake, from their failures, and they move on.
Yeah, I'd say the key is iteration. Iteration is like trying it again, different, slightly different, slightly different, slightly different. If I did a deal and I'm like, man, I didn't make as much money. Why? Oh, that neighborhood, gravel road. Okay, not doing that again. Next iteration, next iteration. And that's what I believe, and that's what I've learned in life is you can always just tweak, slightly tweak, be a little better. Same with cars. That's what I started doing. I started picking up cars that I fixed faster. I sold for a little bit smaller profit, but I did it in 3 weeks, not 3 months.
Yeah.
And so I started doing those kind of tweaks, and I think
that's optimization. But I'm talking about like on a bigger scale, failing is completely fine.
Yep.
And it's good.
And the
it's
mindset around failing.
Right. And it's good in the early stages of your life. Yeah. Obviously, if you fail at 40, it's going to be a hit. Pretty complicated.
The AI summary is some action is better than no action. You have to apply.
I'm curious, would you guys say, because I thought about this too, I had a young guy ask me, and I thought in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if this will confuse him. Is it better to try as many opportunities as possible when you're younger so that you can feel out different things? Or is it better to just go one by one? If you don't like it, move to the next, but quick. Like if it's not for you, move on. If it's not for you, move on. Because a lot of people get attached. I'm doing this thing, I'm going to drag it out 1, 2, 3 years and hope, I like this job or like this industry. What would your guys' advice be on that?
I feel like that's a dichotomy, and I really like what Naval Ravikant says on this, is it's not 10,000 hours, it's 10,000 iterations. So you got to keep trying. But like, let's connect Hormozy into it. And he's like, people give up too easily. They have the lady in the red dress syndrome, where it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of failure in order to see something succeed, and they're not able to absorb those hits and keep going. Like Nestor is saying, you're playing the game of chess, you lose, and then you stop playing. So you got to stay in the game long enough to actually like have the chance to succeed, but you have to be iterating like every step of the way in order to make it work.
Yeah, I could agree.
But to answer your question differently, if you're trying multiple things at the same time, you're going to fail at all of them.
Yeah,
you have to go one by one. You have to realize why it's not working, and do I like it or not? So if I don't like it, I hate it, don't expect it working for you. If you actually enjoy it, you understand the industry, and you're passionate about it, well, you have to keep trying. You have to keep trying. And then you need a mentor in your life, someone who is more seasoned, who lived through a lot of things, and you just ask him, hey, why am I failing? What am I doing wrong that's not working? Why am I failing? So definitely consult with the right people. Make sure you have a good circle of people around you. And I don't believe, I just don't believe people will keep failing. They have to win somewhere. It's like playing the roulette. Like eventually you're gonna hit that number. So the more failure, the more experience you get, and eventually you're not gonna make mistakes, and you don't have to be a genius to succeed. 100%.
Yeah.
The people I talk to that been successful, none of them, for now, maybe Elon Musk is gonna be next, and he is a genius, but to be able to do well, to be able to be successful at certain level, in any industry, you don't need to be a genius. You just need to be someone who's more passionate, who is trying harder than your competitors, and who doesn't give up. That's it.
I agree. I think I saw a post where it's like KFC started the business that blew up at like 60, and there's 10, 20 other billionaires that didn't have that aha till their 60s. Not saying it should take that long, right? But I even mentioned my old boss. He started his company at 34, and look where he is today. You know, it's over $100 million. And so that was in a 10-year period. So he was being seasoned for a certain period of time, and then when he was released, boom, he's going. And I'm sure he was trying things as he was doing what he was doing. And so I think also understanding some people might have success earlier, some later. You're on your own path, right? And to continue to try, like you said, be persistent. I think on deals I've underwritten, it's got to be 15 to 20,000. And I've done it. And some of them now, on my phone, I get a link. I look at it. I'm like, oh, I know this area. Not going to make money. Move on. Because I already know. I don't have to sit there. I don't have to go through a spreadsheet. But I can see the deal. And so I can agree with you. It's iteration, how many times you do it, not how many hours you spend. Because I could spend 10,000 hours, but I'm never changing.
So we talked a lot about knowledge and the learnings and the wisdom. But let's talk briefly on mindset. So I believe like your mindset is like your brain's operating system, or your mind's operating system of how you choose to like interact with the world and what you choose to believe and how you make decisions. If you had to have like an AI, like humanoid, right? And this person was like fully capable of being a human. You had to program their mind with the correct mindset to succeed as an entrepreneur. What would you add to that operating system? What would you not add?
Loaded question for sure. Well, I think I would definitely create some kind of blend between visionary thinking. So when I was in my garage or I was on the floor in the apartment that I couldn't afford, in my mind's eye, I believed I will be a millionaire. I just had that conviction. Deep down inside, I knew that I knew that I knew. I didn't know the journey. I didn't know the path. I didn't know how it was going to look. Everything was foggy, but I knew that one thing. I will be a millionaire. The problem is the details is not what wasn't my strength at that time. And so I should have had some kind of system to catch me in those details and to plan out the way over those details. And then vice versa for Arthur. I mean, he's incredibly smart at underwriting the details, the spreadsheets, the whole entire business plan in numbers form. You know what I mean? And so I would probably program the AI to be able to see the vision, but then actually plan out the steps. And I think those two are going to be the most important thing, because I've heard of people becoming billionaires and running a absolute, loss for 15 years on the P&L, and it just doesn't look good. Amazon, Elon Musk, you name it, Tesla, every one of them. And imagine that fortitude of the mind to be able to be like, I'm running at a loss, it's totally fine.
Because it's the visionary side of things.
Exactly.
That
And
was
so you
pulling
have to,
the company.
So you have to have the AI have a switch and be like, at what point do I switch to, it's visionary, I'm running at a loss, everything's fine, we're on track, we're hitting goals.
But you're able to convince investors to keep pouring money into you.
Yep. So those are the two things that I would add to that to AI bot.
I'd probably say for me, it would be like a daily focus on the highest priority, highest moving things that will move the needle in the company first, and then everything else. A lot of times people get into the busy work, and then they're like, oh, I have these important things I have to do, but then they get moved to the next day. So like as a person, what is actually going to move my life forward today? If it's a young guy trying to get a job, you go walk up to 3 different businesses. Hey, I'm looking for an internship or an entry-level job. You go to 3 companies every morning, right? Rather than sitting there hoping somebody calls you. So whatever that action is, you do that first before anything else. So that would be my thing to program. Like it's that important, because that's, if it's working days, 20 days, you're talking 240 days of action that actually move the needle. That's a lot of action. And if every day you focus on that, every year is going to change in your life.
So for me, the highlights here are set a goal. You don't know how to get there, but just set a goal and work towards that goal. Second, internship. Find an internship opportunity. And third, which is a highlight from your story, is you did more than it was asked from you. So your entrepreneurship mindset pushed you to find those deals, bring those deals to the table, even though it wasn't part of your scope, right? Like it wasn't your job to
Yep.
find the deals, but you did extra. And same thing with you is while you were learning to build, you said, okay, let me apply my skill. Somebody like you could have been a career builder and could be still working for that same company, but you applied your entrepreneurship mindset. You actually went out of your comfort zone to start building for yourself and testing your ideas, your experience, your knowledge, and it's a cool, powerful story. Thank you.
I think actually that really gives me a little bit of a light bulb moment. I was uncomfortable working for the builder because of my mindset that I'm going to be a millionaire. And I realized I can't be a millionaire working for this builder. And so it made me uncomfortable working for the builder, and that probably pushed me to go and apply it and do
So
something
it was
else.
never your comfort zone.
Never. To go work for someone,
Never.
it felt wrong. I was sitting in my car during lunch break. I was thinking to myself, I'm wasting my life. I'm wasting my
Wow.
life working for this builder.
Okay.
And so
That's
I
great.
think that sauce of that mixture, I was just like, I have to go out and I have to do something with it and I have to apply it. I don't know how, but this is the path.
That's great. That's great. To wrap this up, guys, your favorite book is How to Win Friends.
And Influence People by Dale
100%,
Carnegie.
yep.
That's a
It's a
good
good
one.
book.
It's a very
John
good
Maxwell
book.
books are really good. in
John
gen-
Maxwell, which one?
He has a whole series of books.
Mhm.
There are a lot of good ones.
So that's the book that you recommend a young,
Oh
per-
yeah, teaches you how to listen, not speak.
right?
And
Yeah.
even
I
Alex
like-
Hormozy, $100 million offers and $100 million leads. That
Art,
really
Art of the Deal.
Art
It's
of the Deal is
probably a
one.
good one for real estate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually writing a book too, and my book in the beginning, the summary is the two biggest skill sets is the art of the deal and sales, and then I
Okay.
break it down. So we'll see. Maybe I'll come out with it this year or next.
Awesome. That's great. That's great.
All right.
Would love to get a copy.
Yeah, there you go. What about you guys? Favorite books?
The Bible? Nah.
We don't count Bible.
Nah, you
Bible.
can't.
That's a
Yeah.
daily thing. You have to be doing.
Yeah.
That's the daily bread.
I would say Atomic Habits, I think, is really powerful.
Yeah.
I think it's also really applicable to like the modern day age because we're in a cultural moment that you have the smartest minds, the best minds of our generation actively working to distract you. And I think being able to systemize your life to where you can actually focus and actually achieve, that's the modern day struggle now. You know, before it was, I'm a farmer and can I make enough food, you know, for the winter? Now it's like, how do you stop yourself from being distracted by this?
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard. So I would say that's like my number one recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
huge. That's the biggest. I think the biggest thing in our generation that hurts and lacks people from success is busyness, because
Distractions.
That's literally it. It's if the phone can keep you busy enough, you won't do anything with your life. You'll consume, but you'll be consumed. So I think that's a huge one.
That's the video with the pebbles, with the tennis balls, pebbles with the sand. Have you seen that video? No.
Mm-mm.
No,
Uh,
they're
Big
not on their
things, the
phones. They're
smaller
actually
things.
working, right? They're not on social
Yeah.
media.
So
I'm
so-
creating the content, not
You're
watching it,
creating-
right?
Exactly. But man, social media is so distracting. So hopefully, if you are spending time on social media, watch long format content
There you
where
go.
you actually learn, such as this. Exactly.
Right.
Okay, one advice that you would give a young yourself, a young 21-year-old yourself.
Mm.
I would say get out of the t-shirt business faster, or make the mistakes sooner. So
Make the
either
mistakes sooner. Okay.
either make the same mistakes that I made much faster and learn quicker, and
Okay.
not be scared,
I like that.
or you know,
Hmm.
I would say probably stick to what's working. So you don't have to go reinvent something. Stick to what's working. For example, I love residential development, and just continue to hone in, keep doing what you're doing, keep doing that,
Optimize,
and
become better,
optimize
and scale.
be better at that. For somebody younger,
Okay.
maybe not me, I would say find out what's working, and just try to get your foot in that door. You see
Alright.
somebody and it's working, just try to get into that door, try to learn what they're doing.
Thanks, guys, for watching. We just had an amazing 2-hour interview with the guys, Arthur and Ruben. They shared their story. It's an exciting one. They shared the highlights. We actually pinpoint the reasons why they became successful at what they are doing. So I'm excited to release this video in the next coming week. So guys, stay tuned, subscribe, make sure that you get notifications of all the content we're about to release. Cheers.
Yeah, guys, it's full of golden nuggets. Watch it all the way through. You're gonna learn a ton of stuff. And yeah, stay tuned for other guests we're gonna have on the show. There's a lot to learn, a lot of different opportunities we're gonna be able to show you guys. So make sure you follow and stay tuned.
Thank you, guys.